that, and I got some stuff on. Is Africa, the African condition will never be, we can never get out of our condition unless we polarize Saturn and Jupiter. The Sigi ceremony, and it had to been polarized in Africa by Africans. Even though we know that we are one people, that was just the particular part on which they had to get out of, which is also by us being one people. There's things that happen over in the West and things that happen in the East. But I'll go into some things that happen in the East. This is one of these. I'll give you one. Okay. This is one you be responsible for Xerox and then give it to the other people. Yeah. Also, too, before I go into this, I got something on them. This is what came forth, and I hope this don't hurt anybody, but this is what came forth from the mothership. Was in order for the sisters to get on the mothership, they got to unleash the antennas of their head and take the perm out.
That's right.
Because that is the antennas.
That's right.
And this is the number 9 head. Even though this is done by Imam Esau, I give you one, and I give.
Right.
Even though this is done by Imam Esau, it is very valid. You got to take that out of the number 9. We was given the word 4 and 5. The numbers 4 and 5. And all. Well, I have enough. He was given the numbers 4 and 5. It's 9.
Oh.
And we was given those numbers and told that the sisters have to decode it. Well, Sister Mayat here is one of the people that brought it to my attention. And when we was talking and then it triggered, boom, this is what's it. I'll just, he'd be responsible.
Definitely.
I gave a lot of stuff out last night at the ceremony. But Africa cannot be, Africa can, let's say, black people's condition, because we know we're talking about one people. We want to get out of just the thing, the Africa thing. Because we're talking about one landmass, one people. And that's the goal we got to get back to, is we all are one. So, yeah, and I got one of those for you, Sister Maya. That's from Imam Esau, but it's very valid. Africa cannot be...
I need to stop you, but right here, you see how that hair is done right there?
Yeah.
The effigies, the little people that they dug out of the mound, have their hair just like this. We go there every during the night.
Is it 3 pieces? I got the original one right here, so now we can use which one you want? Because I know you was looking for something like this. Okay, that's it. That's the 2. Remember now, that's the manifestation of what we talked about. And that's the number 9 here, as you see. But you are right. But going back, the black race could not get out of the condition not unless Saturn and Jupiter was repolarized. And it said it must have been repolarized in Africa by Africans at this particular time, even though we have things we have to do in the West, because we want to get out of this whole thing, of this Africa thing, where we understand that the whole earth is ours. You understand? And one landmass before the sinking of Atlantis and Lemuria or whatever. But the Sigi ceremony was important because it was the Dogon tribe who was the descendants of the ancient Hemmites. So this is going on that side of the Atlantic. And once they repolarized, they did it every 60 years. Last time they did it was, and I have the actual dates, was 1944 was the last time they did it. 1944. I think it was March 20th, 1944. And April 23rd of 1994 was completed the 60 year, or the 50.9 years. Anyway, they repolarized Saturn and Jupiter Saturday. Now the cycle lasted from Saturday or either Friday up until yesterday, maybe today, because it's not by accident we all here, because nothing happens by accident, and we need to get out of just thinking that everything is the way it is. Now, what this means is, it means 2 things. It means once this is repolarized, this is the birthday of Osiris, which is the Christ is lying dead in the Amenta. The Amenta is also the black dot. So now the black dot, since we all have the black dot, this particular ceremony is not just talking about one Christ figure that will come even though you have certain Christ figures that will come to jumpstart the rest of the black people's brains. No, but they're talking about an entire race of people, you see. So based on the entire race of people who have the black dot, because the black dot, the melanin is called the great works, and it said in esoteric it says the great works is one who who rises themselves to a certain level of Christhood, or one who is born with the great works, which is actually melanin. Now, this particular cycle is talking about not just they said that the birthday of Osiris, but Osiris is called Lord of the Perfect Black, which means Kim or Cam. So we're talking about black people also too, esoteric. So when they said the rising of the Christ and the rising of the Messiah based on the birthday of Osar, the birthday of Nomo, the Dogon Christ, who is in the representation of a fish, which is the same Christ figure, they're talking about the birthday of black people. So now this particular cycle is being repolarized. And like Sister Maya said, when I went up to Detroit, is white people was on it. Also, when I went up there, I met a guy. All things were revealed. I met a guy. He called Friday before I left out. Some guy that had this big fro. He had an afro since. He said he had his afro since the early 70s. And I said, so you mean you went through the 80s with an afro? I said, I know you got some really cute. I said, I know it's back in style now, but you mean to tell me you went through the 80s with the afro? He said, yeah. Anyway, this guy came, and this guy gave me a huge stack of papers and all kinds of things. And these are these folders he gave me. And things that I had touched upon was revealed, also the documentation. Like the number 9 headed, we concluded last week before we left. Last Monday before we left, we had a meeting. Then I get a paper with the number 9 head. I concluded when we left that everybody needed to meditate on Saturday or be in some type of conscious position where you're thinking something outside of the normal white line stuff.
We did it, and I didn't even know this, but I told my people they had to do this.
Yes, right. So they had to meditate on Saturday or do some type of thing.
Let me know.
Right.
I had to tell the people they had to meditate Saturday.
Right. And so I went up and I did my meditation, and as a matter of fact, then this paper was revealed with the documents, which is bearing witness also. So now, what's happening is two things, and that's what's happening on the western side, on the eastern side. The western side is we have unleashed the native spirit. We don't want to say Native American, because that's native Satanists, if we want to say that. We want to say indigenous native, native Westerner.
Indigenous ancient spirit.
Ancient spirit. We went on the Pinson Mounds, and Sister Maya here was gracious enough to go. This is Sister Mintu, my spiritual half. That came into my life about a couple months ago. Anyway, but the deal is we went to the mounds and took a group of people down. On Saturday the 9th after the 8th, we had a cycle between the 8th, between the 4th and the 10th. On the 9th, we met up with a Native American, a native indigenous spirit, ancient spirit called Thunderdog, which is also, I've been indicated, as a form of Obatala, Heru, and just a form of the Christ. Also Thunderdog, and also that dog means the dog star also too. And Sebek, which is Sebek or Anpu, which is Sebek is Anpu, which is the actual Anubis or Anpu, that dog you see, which is symbolized as the color. The ears are gold and the body is black. The black and gold is also called the sun in Sirius. The sun in Sirius also Jah, which is a form of the Christ. The sun in Sirius. Atan is a form of the sun in Sirius, the black and gold. You see, so and also Ra is a part of that. So now, we met up with this particular Native American spirit, and they said that we needed to make a union with them because they said that their spirits was our spirits.
Before, on my way to Detroit, when I left home, I had to go up in the Ozarks to meet with Dr. Bowling, who is a nurse. And during that time, we had a meeting where the ancients red and the ancient black had to come together.
Right.
I just wanted to.
And that's what just channeled me, because I got some article and some stuff called it's called the Black and Red Temples of Atlantis. It deals with that particular stuff also too. So they said that we had to have a union, so we had to build an altar. And they suggested.
Hold it again. While I was in Detroit, I got the paper of the union, which at some time I want to show you all. Then when I came here, Sister Grace, a little girl, had told me I was going to meet Grace, and I was going to get another piece. I got the other piece from Sister Grace. And it's just been so miraculous how the pieces is falling together and how the knowledge and information is falling together spiritual until I knew last night we should meet. And when I got here, we was talking about going down to Omar's. And I said, well, they need to come here. Because when I got here, I met a spirit in this room that we have angels around us now.
Yes, we do.
They met you too. Angels around us. I said, I can't leave here because this is where the presence is.
That's funny. They instructed us to make the union was to build a temple in your house, an altar. And in that altar, you were supposed to take something wooden. It's got to be something wooden. If it's a table or anything, it's got to be wooden. It can't be,
gotta be
plastic.
natural.
It's got to be natural. If it's a dresser drawer, if it's wooden, fine. And you take a yellow cloth, which has got to be, the yellow material that you take has got to be either cotton or linen. It's got to be a natural fiber.
Okay, let me tell you about that. In Detroit, when I was there 3 weeks ago, I was given this linen, which is supposed to be 200 or 300 years old. I got it back in the car because I wrapped new papers. I said, I'm going to put all this old stuff together. I wrapped it in. What time we going to stop? I don't like to miss nothing, so I can go out here and bring these things.
No, that's it. That's it.
Well, don't say nothing. Please, give my keys. You got it.
Ain't that something? Read Detroit. Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
But you know, remember it was the altar of atonement too. To remember it was the altar of atonement too, to correct the injustices.
That's it. Exactly. I was going to explain that to her too. Yeah, that's true. That's true. So we got to build these altars. I'll tell you what to do, because I even told the people in New York to build an altar, and God knows they need one in New York. Because the building there, there's no trees, no nothing. You just straight up.
I went to her Highness Church back there on Saturday about 7 p.m. True Light brother was cremated, and his nephew took his remains out the oven and sprinkled them over the church. That's where we wanted to go, on the farm. It was awesome. Too much.
Now, the linen you see, if you feel it, you'll find out. You'll never see linen like that. It's like a table linen, a shroud linen. Take it over.
We can put that on the ground.
You want the briefcase on the
That's the
floor?
Yeah, you can put that on. Those are all the papers.
That's the old
This on the
Yeah, you can put it on the floor.
Grace brought. Now, you might want to look at the union paper. You're going to have to, somebody's going to have to, the union paper. Where's the black? Did I bring the black bag? I don't have this. It's very old, and it's very delicate. And
Thank you, brother.
I would do just spread it out and begin looking. And
See, Alphabet Church. All right. Yeah.
And I'm going to show you some of the buildings, how people purchased.
In a way, you would think that if you just go by the history that the Cracker gives us, you would think the black people didn't do anything.
Look, that's one of our buildings. I know I have the bottom of it, but that's one of our buildings. But taking the fact, I drive the car blind, so that's all right too. This is one of our buildings from back in 1902. Somebody want to hold it, you want to get pictures of this.
If you can hold those up, yeah, that'll be great.
I
I'm
need to
zooming
get you
in.
in touch with a brother that I met up in
This.
Chattanooga that is already tapped into some ancient black people of Chattanooga.
That's one of our buildings, and let's see if I can find another one. This is one. I think that's the most beautiful building.
And that was back in 1908, 1910.
In 1910. We owned this in 1910 through the church. And there's another beautiful building here. And in fact, it's several beautiful, this beautiful building that blacks own and control. That's one of the black queens. And
Somebody can hold up a picture of Prophet Evans. I think Brother Hemmitt's got him over there.
Right here.
Yeah, picture of
This a
Prophet.
picture of it?
yes, yes.
Yeah, that's.
But you got another picture where he got his crown.
Yeah, he has his crown, and that's a good one.
Let me see, I believe that's
That was the man. That was the man.
that man is something.
He was the one that taught everybody, man.
Somebody got to
He came out of slavery with the teaching. Here's one of the schools.
Yeah, beautiful picture, Brother Ben. That's great.
Can you get this one?
I got that one. Okay, where we at? Oh, yeah. Yes. All right.
And probably have the queens of
Hey, baby.
Yes, I have the queens.
yes.
Because there's a picture with him standing with his crown on it. It's just stunning.
Yes, I'm gonna get that.
Yeah,
one.
take your time.
Bobby
Take
had
your
it, I
time.
think, over there on this
Sister,
side.
can you hold up that? Yeah, that'd be great. Get all this stuff on.
Alina,
Great.
look inside.
Thank you very much, sister.
Of this.
Okay, there you go.
I think I got a better one than this.
Yeah, that's the same. That's the same brother right there.
Because I got one in a book like
Had his
this.
crown on.
And
Yeah, there's a.
that's a good one.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, that's cool. I got that. That's good. Thank you.
Is it in the paper?
It was the Empress might have it on.
I don't know, I might have it down here. I got some stuff I don't take out.
Yeah, great.
Now here's one of the buildings owned by blacks. And he set up these buildings all over the United States. He purchased land all over the United States. And get that one close up.
Great. Thank you.
Now, I want you to this is the Almighty Church. I want you to read
No,
this.
the Empress got something. She
No,
got all the
I got
information.
to go and put this between the five.
That's it.
Here he is. This is
That's
it.
the one.
This is the one.
Speed read. Yeah. That's the problem.
And that's a brother with all the writing. That's one you don't hear of. But these people,
Great. Okay. Yeah.
these people has got a world of information. But they are very private with it. And the church as of today is not as spiritual as the founding church was. And since it's not as spiritual with the spiritual queen, you just got one spiritual sweet mother lady. And she is so deep. Until when I first seen her, she called me in the privacy of her room. And I said, Mother, wisdom. I said, I'm looking right through you. And she said, I am looking through you. And I had never had an experience like that. She said, what do you see yourself? I said, yes. It's like me looking in a mirror. And she said, I see myself in you. But she not being very old, she never told me anything about the experience, except that she had been praying all these years to find somebody strong enough to lead the church at her passing on. She said, and you are the only person I've ever seen that could do it. And it just kind of blows me away. So I was talking to Dr. Bowen, who is also very spiritual, about this. I said, I had an experience that I have never had before. And I told him about it. He said, and you're going to see her now? I said, yes. He says, you go in by the rising of the Phoenix. And don't see her until you read the rising of the Phoenix. So I stopped in the hotels everywhere I stopped. At your house and at the hotel, I would take this book out and read it. Until I got to the part where Mary Summerrain looked in the eyes of Noah, looked in Noah and seen herself. And Noah is blind, she looked in Mary Summerrain spiritually and seen herself. And then Noah was explaining to Mary Summerrain the coming of the Phoenix and what she would have to do as healing during that time, and went on with the rest of the book. But in other words, Noah was putting herself in this woman, where this woman could carry out her missions after she was dead. And when I read that, I didn't talk to Mother much. This time, I said, is this what she's doing to me? Putting herself in me? And it was so very clear. And I said, but I told her, I said, well, I cannot leave my work with the nation. She said, yes, but you could come and visit them and keep them together. So because they're not strong enough to know what they have. She said, I want you to take these pieces. And I got a lot more that I carried home before. She said, and put it together. We have a lot of land. We have a lot of money that we don't know where it is. I said, well, I know what part of the money is. It's in the bank in Philadelphia. I've already found that out before I came here. I said, my grandmother told me if I find all the pieces, we get all the monies back. And we're talking about thousands and millions of dollars that's on those papers we have down there. And she said, if you can do it and keep the church together and use the money for the nation and keep the church together. And it just blows me away to see that they had that kind of material there. And I had this dream from my childhood of going up these stairs. And I would get so far, like your dream. And I would see this picture one time of these queens. But it was some papers up there that I had to read. And I couldn't get any farther. I would wake up. That dream followed me through my lifetime. When I went to Detroit 3 weeks ago and Cleveland 3 weeks ago, I didn't know I was going to see these people. But Alima had told her she had to see me, and had told me I had to see her. That's the reason I come back and got Alima this time. And when I got there, and as I was leaving Cleveland going to Detroit, I was leaving in her granddaughter's van. And I say, you mean that's where you're taking me to see Mother Wisdom? She said, yeah. And I relayed to her about this dream. She wanted me to tell me about herself and my grandmother and so forth and so forth. But I told her all this. She told me very little. And, but she would look at me and stare at me. And this time she told me, baby, I knew who you was when you first walked in here. She said, but I had to consult the spirit. And she showed me this book with all my relatives in it.
She gonna eat him.
And I said, you mean we are the same people? She said, yes, your parents were dead, weren't they? I said, yeah. And nobody could tell you, could they? And they're just a different, it's some worldliness coming in from the young people that has grown up and haven't kept the spirit. And this is what she's afraid of. But the overall of it, it's just talking about two modes. It's real spiritual. And they, all these years, haven't had the education to collect what this man has lost, what they have lost that this man found. He was the founder of. And what I was telling you on the phone, where I had to go, you remember where I told you I had to go? I find that they have taken one of their names. And they may be smart enough to have taken that name in order to collect some of it. It's another group in Atlanta have some of their property and have some of their money. And I'll tell you, I won't expose that right now. Okay? Is that okay with everybody? But these are the pieces that this group has got to set their mind on. Well, we can bring all this back together, even though they are sure of themselves, they have it, but it can't be used worldly. It got to be used spiritually.
Right.
It's got to be used like he intended for it to be used.
That's true.
So I won't. No, that's a no, because that's too old. Get that piece right there. That's a very important piece right there.
And Your Highness, you might want to share with them how the soldier Honor died of cancer, terminal cancer.
Oh, yes.
And at 7 p.m. the cremation.
And we got there in time for the cremation. I have never seen a cremation. I have been to the memorial service of a cremation, but I have never seen the ashes deposited. And I've always said where I wanted my ashes deposited. And is that mine?
We got yours.
Who got mine?
It's next to you.
Well, I don't put mine in my bag. I have to be careful with all this stuff. Anyway, I seen, y'all don't keep it in here. I keep it on the floor cup. I seen them, we got there in time to go to his service. And he had requested that his remains of his ashes be sprinkled behind the bomb. And for the first time, when we all gathered around for the sprinkling of the ashes, she had asked me, she said, wonder why he wanted it sprinkled behind the bomb. Well, the next morning I told her. I said, I couldn't tell you when you asked me. I said, but this place is very dear to him, and he can see it falling apart with wayward spirits. And he thought if his ashes would be deposited here, it'll be a memorial of what kind of place this is supposed to be. And everybody would get up off their behind and work for black people. I said, that's why he wanted his ashes deposited here. And seeing the ashes deposited, it was coming to me as we were in the service of depositing the ashes, of sprinkling the ashes, that this soul, or this spirit, have nothing to worry about back here or to watch his old body until it decays. His spirit immediately got on that stroke. That's what came to me spiritually. And then I said, everybody should be cremated. Everybody's ashes should be. Get rid of that because you're no longer in here. It's nothing.
Empress, can I say something real quick? There was a booklet that I have. I'll expose you to them. This Ethiopian group out of New York called The Ones Who Care. They said that was a system to bring about the evil on this planet was the burial ceremony because the fumes from the bodies rotting cause an aura around the earth and cause those evil spirits that we are supposed to be cremated. That's the real way because we were born in fire.
I believe that. I really believe that. Because I was so peaceful with that cremation service. With the sprinkling.
Year, which is called the end of an eon and the end of the world, which is the Phoenix cycle.
L-E-O.
You know.
L-E-O. Coming back to myself, I went to Dr. Bowles and he was telling me about the Phoenix. Okay, I knew a little about the Phoenix, but very little because I've been so busy trying to study to bring the pieces back. I know everybody got a different mission. Now, but all the missions going to come back into one.
It's funny, Atlanta is the phoenix rising up out of the ashes, is the symbolic of Atlanta, Georgia.
I know. Now, where we go June 18th is the buried mound. We go there every June. And I've been singing in the program for years and years. That was the center of the commercial trade of the ancient people. And in our program in June, we go to this mound. I would like to see all spiritual people there, especially it's something going to happen. And maybe you are about in Israel, and maybe some of the rest of you. I don't know. But I know these would pick it up. If a spirit comes, these would pick it up and would be able to identify with that spirit and get whatever message is given. Now, the spirits came last year because I remember saying, dude, we all heard people talking. And they're going to have to be taught to be quiet because a lot of people like to play so we can get whatever is coming. But I know it's going to be from there. If Moses had walked from where we say he walked in the Bible, he would have ended up not in a wilderness, but in a desert and later in the ocean. But since the world was once one landmass, and we know in the day of Tiari when Satan started, we can identify how he led the children of Israel. It would have been to the mounds over here and not the mounds over there. Because at this particular mound, the archaeologists have discovered how many baskets of dirt it would take to make it. And if we count the baskets of dirt by the epochs of dirt, which 10 would make a basket, down to what they say, it would be the exact number of baskets that God told Moses to make. Not only that, he told him to make a mound of earth. You will find a mound of earth there. The mound of earth is here.
Which is
And he could have made that cycle.
which is the same identical thing in the laws of Tahuti said that we would rise up over here.
Yeah, we'll rise here. Because this is the part that had.
Well, the sun starts in the east and sets in the west.
The Mississippi River is like the chakra of this Western Hemisphere, with New Orleans and Louisiana being the root chakra.
And you know, they say it's the Rio Negro. That's what it originally was. On the back of that book, and you'll see it right there on the back of the gray book, my book, on that thing. And if you look, turn the back of the book, look at the bottom of that book. See it's Rio Negro? That's where the black people, that's the black people river. That's the chakra, just like you said. Now, it's not going to split. Well, they said it was going to split. Because the Spirit has already told me, and when they indicted me, I told the United States government where it was going to split. From New Madrid up to New Madrid down, and go cut you off 13 states. So that's the way it's going to be. And the day of the sun, it starts the year 95, and I've been telling you all that all the time. I've got a witness here from this spiritual sister. That's when it's going to be.
This is coming from 3 other sources. It's coming from you. It's coming from Sister Tiari. It's coming from Underdog to be invoked that spirit. Gave 1995.
And a lady in Nevada.
And also, it's coming from the indigenous people of the South Pacific, which would be their god would be Pele, which gives 1995 the year 1995. Let me get it because I didn't bring it with me. The year 1995, a new extraterrestrial race of humans will design a new reality. This is the spiritual Congress. They will come from Sirius from lots of difficulties. Those people are already here.
Yeah.
It's not talking about, it's talking about us already here, getting to our higher spiritual self.
The chill that came to me then, it's the same one when the mocking was put on me of the stuff. Have you seen the stuff on my back?
You showed it to me.
Is there anyone else want to see it?
You had another piece that was coming up this Christmas. Did any other stuff materialize? There was something else that was coming up.
Nothing other than
You have some?
it's a 7-point star, an X, and some little dot writings. Now it came there by itself. It's a little dot, or 2 dots. Can you see it? Now, man didn't get that day.
No.
He has a big square on his back.
A big
Did he tell you
square.
about that?
Yeah, it's a big green, just a big green.
Did it come itself?
No, the Indian spirits, they put the wings, the sun and the wings on my chest, which is a form of the phoenix also.
Right.
And they put it on my chest and it burned a hole through my chest and my back. So what we talk about is spiritually, it's there on the...
And she have the
Oh, yeah.
in his heart.
You got to see that.
The
You got to see it. You got to see it. I've seen it. Like the on that thing. It's
A
an
5-point star right above his breast.
I see it like X-ray.
Stars
There's
up
an X-ray in the shoulders.
Well,
Ain't no cut on his chest.
she, when they give him the X-ray,
That's
it
it.
was on his heart. So now, all this is not happening for nothing.
Well, it said in the scriptures that those that had a special mission would be marked. The children of the Most High would be marked, and we would have to know the different signs. So even in looking at our own children as well as our bodies, we must be able to read the different signs. But even on our palms, we can see the X's. X always is symbolic. In palmistry, it's symbolic of high levels of psychic energy. But that would be in alignment with our connection with Sirius.
Okay, now look at Grace's material. Because I know we got to stop and go pay those bills. Look at Grace's material, and as you look at them, what you do. Now let me collect that stuff. That's going to the archive. Bobby, let me collect these old papers that's got to go. That's for the Washitaw archive. Gold.
And And you know there's a Washitaw Street here we found?
Mm-hmm. Little 5 point.
Yeah, little 5 point. Did you?
Oh yeah, yeah. As soon as I seen it, I was like, whoa, what's up on
Is
this
it the
one?
W or the?
W. W. Yes, ma'am.
Get that on the picture. And I know you said, whoa, this is them.
Oh, Euclid on the street.
In the United States Archive, didn't have it with the W. All of it is W. And why would they change it to steal the land, but put an O there? Would you show her papers during Grace, would you show that? And as you look at that, feel this table linen. And I know you've never seen any table linen like that before. It's the ancient hemp or jute, whatever they made it out of, linen.
Which, you know, hemp, or what they call marijuana now, supposedly came from Syria. And it was brought into the area known now as India, which is, and why it's called ganja and Ganges, because it symbolized the stream of consciousness, and it was a tool that was used to be able to invoke that stream of consciousness at any time. Most of the herb that's grown now has lost those properties because it's grown strictly for commercial use. But if someone were to grow it at home and deal with it in the whole spiritual...
And take it different and turn it around to what it was grown for.
Yes.
To make a special linen, to make special medicine. It will cure cancer. It will open up your eyes. It will do a lot of things for you. But they don't want to use it for the purpose that it was brought here for. You all going to come right here? I know we got to do all this.
Your Highness, take your time.
All right.
You break out? Cool. I have to take that.
There's also supposed to be a branch of Dogon people that's in South Africa that is like a secret society that's within the Zulu nation. Supposedly Shaka Zulu was a part of that sect, and one of the things that they would do would be to smoke the ganja before they would go into battle, and it helped them to transform into their God self and be totally fearless. And they also weave a type of cloth which is known as mud cloth too. It doesn't usually get out of South Africa, but them, as in the people in Mali, are the only ones that weave it. But it's woven by the women, and what was told to me was that the symbols that are on it not only signify the different tribes, different patterns signify the different tribal groups that weave it, but they are also messages, they're maps and they're messages.
Well, you know, the Hopi Indian over here is a form of that Dogon.
Well, the Hopi Indian, I don't know why you would bring that up, because Dr. Bowen had the Hopi Indians there to meet me in order to, well, everybody's Indian is saved, in order to, you know, they have their own form of currency now, and they have their awful thing. And they are supposed to assist me in doing that.
You know, too, it was in their prophecies, they were told in this day and time that they would meet with some ancient Tibetan priests. And in the ancient Tibetan prophecy, they talk about meeting Hopi priests. And there was a meeting recently, I guess maybe about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now, of these priests that came over from Tibet that were traveling through, and they did make as part of their travels the time to meet with the Hopis in the West.
Well, it was supposed to be the time for them to meet with the ancient ones last week. The blessings of bringing their tribe and our tribes, a nation So they're very strict. Very strict. And they're supposed to be with us on 19, 17, 18.
That's interesting. Because those numbers came, when you said the 18, and then I know Bobby had spoken about us being at Mound, Tennessee, on the 19th, and I said, okay, 7 and, I mean, 1 and the 8 make the 9.
Yeah.
And also the 1 and the 9. And then it came to the 17th because that makes the 8 and the 7, which is also the number for AWAS. Also the number of the DNA is I was looking
And
at.
AWA is in there.
And that was also the time of
AWA, in Dr. Keto's explanation of what I was seeing, I put his explanation in that book. Those are not my explanations, they are his. But I trust that he got the root words right, and I showed him where it was, and I put it on in the book. But I explained it wasn't mine. It wasn't my doing.
Now, where was this?
Latter part, last chapter.
Back part.
Last chapter.
It's in the last part.
country took place in
Goes from here.
87, and it was 8/17/87, which is also the Honorable Marcus Garvey's birthday.
Okay, now when you say harmonic conversion, can you go a little bit?
I love it.
Well, the book,
That's when we went to Stone Mountain.
Right.
that was also known as the Great
Oh,
Collapse.
25 to 30.
Not the collapse of the money system. Remember the thing on Wall Street, but it was now known as the Great Collapse. It started this plummet of this civilization going out also too.
Right, because it marked the heralding of the coming together of the 144,000. But also that, see, and that would be the balance, since you said it was a collapse, it was also the balance. And
Yeah.
then the next year formed the perfect 8 of that time. 8, 88, and 8/17, 88, which was that whole AWAS age, which was, I should say, the time, part of during that time that I was told you could come to Atlanta, that I was even drawn to Atlanta.
And then you came in, what, 88? You came in 88?
Yeah.
So did I. I came in 88 too.
There was a whole wave of people that came in at that time.
Yeah, I came in
And
86.
I tell you, I fought. I came with every excuse I could to not come to Atlanta
Okay.
at that time, because I was trying to move to the Bay Area. And the Most High removed every single obstacle I tried to put in place. So finally, I just surrendered and said, okay, I'm going to Atlanta.
I was supposed to come in 87, I did.
So,
I came, but
it's true, but I'm just saying how, we can have our own plan about things. But the Creator says when you have something to do, a way will be made for you to do it. And you can continue to deny it and thus end up in your own demise. And someone else will end up carrying on the torch because the work is going to come on and come forth anyway. But just like the brother was bearing witness to his dream or the vision that was shown to him where he agreed eons ago to come forward now and incarnate at this time to fulfill a certain mission. All of us have. We've all agreed before this lifetime that we were going to come here to do specific things. And many of the people that have been coming to me to get channelings, the hierarchy has just been like going off on them because they have not been doing the work that they had agreed to do. And so it's just like all these different spirits that are in the army of the Most High that have agreed to do certain things that are just now coming forth to receive their orders, even though they've been getting them all along, but they haven't been acknowledging them. And so it's really crucial that we do want to listen because we don't have much time because the year 95 is really the year 2000 because they've been tampering with the time. So we thinking one thing and it's not even that. In fact, in 88, I was told to start gearing or following the seasons based upon the Chinese calendar, which deals with 2 years per every 1 year of the Western system. So based on that then, that just is in accordance with how time has speeded up. And you know how we think everything is going so fast, it really is going fast. But that's how we can be accurate on several systems. Bobby and I have gone through some tracking of time.
And it's funny. Where did you get this from? Who gave you this in the back of this book?
The Holy Spirit gave it to me.
Gave it to you.
The Holy Spirit gave it
This
to
is all
me.
it's dealing with serious.
And after the Holy Spirit gave it to me, the Most High Creator happened the markings. That's why I was talking to Brother Ben Israel, that I was doing in the writings and the words I was writing. I didn't know the words. And when I heard he could read it, I asked him. And he identified and showed me in his book of root words that this is true. But I got it from the Spirit.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That just remind me before when the Creator revealed to me that the Olympics came on. He brought the Olympics here. The Most High brought it here to draw everybody back to the South as a tool.
Right.
Because something's gonna go down long before it gets here.
Yeah, it is.
Something is going.
Going down. Right before it gets here. We know what it is.
I'm looking
When
for
that
the
picture
little.
came through, remember when I told you I was telling vision and it was saying that all hell was going to break loose in 1995. It didn't say this would just be the end of the world. It just said that all hell would break loose. And basically what we need to realize is that because so many African people are coming here to Atlanta, we have to realize how they are attempting, they will attempt to enslave us here. You know, and we have to be aware of that and to begin to utilize the powers that are here to our own advantage, because we're more powerful in tuning into that energy. All these pyramids that are on top of these buildings, they are energy conductors, and we can use them to our own benefit. We don't have to just say, oh, well, the wicked ones built it, and just leave them to use it. We can reprogram them to utilize them for whatever purpose we need to. And thus make the positive transitions that need to take place to prevent the madness from happening, or at least to prevent ourselves from being caught up in it, and to help others who are willing to wake up and see what's happening.
I really do appreciate this, and this depicts just what you said, what they would like to do with us here in Atlanta. I would like everybody's name, address, and telephone number for future reference, and that's what Alima is doing now, those that I don't already have. And I also would like to invite everybody to the Washitaw for June 19th, for June 17, 18, and 19 to our Continuing Energy Convention.
She'll bite your ear. She's eating your ear. She's eating your
And
ear.
I know you all have your own plans for the mound.
I mean, I don't
But
use none of
you
them.
need to be at the Phoenix Mound, at the third mound.
Well, I don't see why we can't use both of them if it's meant to be.
Yeah, well, see, my point is, they just got the 19th. It doesn't necessarily mean it's supposed to be.
We're not going there
In,
today.
They just said mounds, right?
Yeah, they just said Mounds. It doesn't necessarily, they just misconstrued and thought it was Jackson. It didn't necessarily mean Jackson. What you call it? You channeling on that and find out.
From the root words that Dr. Peter have and what the Spirit has given me. And we do know that is the bird mound.
The Phoenix.
It's at Elk, Louisiana. We leave our Continuing Energy Convention. Whenever we have that convention, and go to the bird mound. And the reason why we go, at some point of the rising of the Phoenix, some spiritual message of salvation will be given to the ancient one at either one of those birds because they couldn't have got you at the bank. Okay, now, I'm sure this mound is the same one that was built, that God told Moses to build. And it's a mound of earth. And if you notice all the mounds, there's a pattern. And as Bobby have on his shop, he has no thyself. And somewhere on the other side, you ought to say, and to thyself be true. As above, so below. These mounds is in a, they are not pyramids, but they are in a, give me a piece of paper, let me show you something about these mounds. And that's right on your pad. The Mississippi mound is like right here. The Arkansas mound is like right here. The Louisiana mound, the bird mound is like right here. Okay. Each one of them is 120 miles apart. There's your 360 degrees. It's so patterned until you know it's something in here. Put this together. Yeah. So now, I want to share that with you all. And I want to ask you all to come not only to the mound
of the systematic domination. We cannot afford to underestimate this defense of a brutality to the whole process of working towards a just political settlement, to this power, to a speedy move forward towards the peaceful abolition. To this end, we are engaged in many within South Africa, aimed at bringing in process of negotiation all the people and representations of our country. We overcome that exists sides, that the only victory we should all seek, and not to the victory of one party over another. It is obvious none of these processes of the people of Namibia, who also overcame the division and the mistrust generated by the apartheid political process within a relative period of time. Today, proud nation of independent people. With this object, the representatives of the Namibian people who are present and acknowledge that we owe them for the contribution they have made to our own liberation. We also salute the front line of Southern Africa and the rest of our continent. To the law against apartheid, today, when we can say that for a united, ethnic, and non-racial Africa in our grasp, it is also due to the of the world in pursuit of the common cause. What we must want edge is that all these forces should round the perspectives contained in the United Nations declarations on South Africa. Will depend for us to sustain that united resolve. This is for us a movement. We stand here. We know this is what you did over the decades to secure my of others of our political prisoners from Pretoria's death. Thank you most sincerely. Especially you have thus given us the opportunity to join you in the search for a speedy solution to the enormous problems facing our country, our region and continent, and humanity as a whole. We that you the hope that we will not relent of in the pursuit of which will return us of Africa into a country of democracy and peace. Standing before the nations of the world, we make that commitment, strengthened by the knowledge that you will fight on, side by side, until achieved. We also take this opportunity and warm greetings to all nations and their humans of power. Struggle to you that we are all moved is indivisible.